One of the best things about BNI is that everyone becomes friends. And one of the worst things about BNI is that everyone becomes friends. Because when those relationships get really strong, standards can start to slip. People give each other a pass. They start to overlook things. They avoid the really tough conversations. And over time, that culture begins to change. It doesn't happen all at once, but little by little, and the results tend to follow. So let's talk about why standards have to come before feelings in BNI. You see, BNI is built on relationships, things like trust and connection and support, and that's a huge strength. But it also creates this challenge because the stronger those friendships become, many of us find it a little bit difficult to hold each other accountable. You don't want to offend somebody, you don't want to create tension, you don't want to make things a little uncomfortable. So instead, you just let things slide. And attendance starts to dip a little bit, preparation drops, maybe engagement fades, and no one says a darn thing. Not because they don't care, because they do care. And that right there is the trap. But here's a different perspective. Maintaining high standards is not a sign that you don't care. It's actually one of the strongest ways to show that you do care. Standards protect the whole group. They protect the culture, they protect the results, because every member in that room is counting on each other. They're counting on you to show up prepared every week, to be engaged and to follow through, to represent them well when referrals are given. So when standards are high, that trust increases. When standards slip, the trust starts to erode. And without that trust, the referrals are going to slow down. So high standards do a few important things. Number one, they create clarity. Everyone knows what is expected when those standards are high. They also create consistency. People show up at much higher levels when things are consistent. And they create attraction. High performers are drawn to high standards. They want to be in rooms where people take things really seriously, where people are committed and where they're growing. So if your chapter lowers that bar to make everyone comfortable, you don't just lose performance, you're going to lose the kind of people you want sitting right next to you in that room. So this doesn't mean you ignore relationships. It means you lead them the right way. You can care about people and still hold the line. You can be supportive and still be direct. You can be friends that still have high standards for each other. In fact, the best chapters, they do both. They create strong relationships and they protect strong standards because they understand something simple. Short-term comfort often leads to long-term problems, but short-term accountability leads to long-term growth. So if you're part of a chapter right now where things feel a little loose, don't ignore it. Lean into that feeling. Have the conversation. Reinforce those expectations and raise the standard. Because at the end of the day, standards are not about control. They're about care. They're about creating an environment where everyone can succeed and where the results match the potential of the group. So if you found this helpful today, share it with a leadership team or a member who really wants to build a strong chapter culture. And if you want to learn how to reinforce standards without creating tension, check out this next video right here, and I'll see you soon.